Hello and welcome to the Money Compass. In each of our Money Journey episodes, Julie brings to you a special guest to share their treasured memories along with the highs and lows of their very own unique and emotional money journey. Welcome to the first episode of our anniversary trio. So it's our first anniversary of starting the podcast. So we've decided that we're going to give you all of the hosts' money journey. So the first edition today is with Becky, and Becky is going to kick us off. So do you want to tell us, Becky, what your first money memory is?
Yes, I certainly can do. I'm sure it's a story that I've told you all before.
You tested everybody now?
I am, yeah. So if you can recall way back, when we were little, my nanny used to give us pocket money. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that actually in my money journey. And I remember one afternoon she gave my brother a £5 note and he held it up to the light to check that it was real.
But she was impressed.
Yeah, well, I know we were all very amused at the time, but yeah, he can't have been much older than sort of 8 or 9, probably maybe not even 8 or 9.
You can get away with it at that age,
yeah,
let's face it.
And he held it up to check that she'd given him a real £5 note.
Bless him.
To this day, we do still laugh at it when we're at home together, so...
It's good that it's such a humorous money memory.
Yes.
It makes you smile every time.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know my nanny was really amused as well at the time, so luckily she wasn't offended and said, no, I'm going to have it back.
Yeah, I think it'd have been most upset then.
Yeah, if you want to check it's real, I'm going to have it back.
So, do you want to tell us today, in your own words, Becky, your money journey?
Oh, I can do my very best. In all honesty, I can't really remember an awful lot about our financial situation when I was really little.
Right.
I know my dad carried on working and my mum gave up work to look after me and my brother. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, all I can really remember is that we never really wanted for anything. So when we were little, we had birthday parties and lovely Christmases, and I can't ever really remember saying that we ever went without. So I'm very fortunate from that point of view.
Definitely.
I remember having my birthday party in McDonald's at Wroxham.
Ooh.
So that was a real highlight for me. So actually going back to probably one of the best places to start is the pocket money that I used to get when I was little. So I remember on a Friday after school, each week, me, my mum and my brother would go around and see my nanny and sort of, spend a couple of hours with her. And each week she would give me and my brother some pocket money. Okay. So this is where the £5 note story sort of has come from.
All makes sense.
Each week it wasn't as comical as my brother holding it up to check that it was real. But when we were younger, I think we started off at like £1 a week. And then when we got a little bit older, it went to £2 and so on and so forth. And we were actually really lucky in the fact that we didn't have to do any chores to get the pocket money from Nanny.
You just had to turn up.
We just had to turn up and be her grandchildren. Wow. And that was enough for us to get the pocket money. So, like I said, we were very lucky. Yeah, we got it just by being there.
Perfect.
I can remember, I can't really remember exactly what I saved up my money for, but I know there was a time when I did get the horrible history magazines, mm-hmm. the sort of like cartoony history stories. So I remember I used to get them, I think they were fortnightly or monthly. And so I put my pocket money towards getting them, like the history buff that I was.
Of course.
And when we were little, me and my brother used to have a PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So I think quite a lot of the time we saved up our money and put it towards getting a PlayStation game or whatever the latest game was at the time that we wanted.
Did you have a favourite game?
The dance mat.
Oh, yes.
Definitely the dance mat.
I hope you beat your brother.
Of course.
Thank
yeah.
goodness.
And my mum, who used to get stuck in as well. So
I think it's a mum thing.
Yeah. We used to go down to, near where I live, there's a Sainsbury's, and in the car park, there used to be a Choices video store. So
I remember it well.
Yeah, not Blockbusters, but Choices. And they used to have a selection of these video games that you could either buy, and they used to have some that you could like rent out for the week. So sometimes we'd rent one out, and other times if we'd saved up a bit more money, we might treat ourselves and if we had enough, buy a game for ourselves. The pocket money that we'd saved up. On the odd occasion, I do remember we used to have to ask our mum if we could borrow some money.
Oh, the bank of mum and dad.
Yeah, because we obviously wanted the game so badly, we couldn't possibly wait a couple more weeks. So we'd ask mum, can we borrow £5 or £6 so we can get this game. And I don't know if this is going to paint my mum in a very nice light, but she didn't always say yes. So in hindsight, I don't think that was a bad thing. And if she did say yes, we always made sure that we had to give it back to her the second that we got it. So It was a bit presumptive of us to even ask to borrow it on the assumption that we were going to get it back to give to her.
Yeah.
But so she always made sure that if we'd borrowed from her, that we always gave it back. So I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. Although, like I say, my poor mum, it's not painting her in a very nice light.
Sometimes parents have to say no, though, hey?
Yes, exactly. So we did that. That was pretty much my childhood, really. Pocket money, games, not the most exciting, dance mats, magazines, sweeties. Quite nice, quite happy. I got my first job when I was 15, so I think that's probably quite young in today's terms. I was a waitress and I started off just doing a Sunday afternoon, and that basically started, we went for a family meal at said pub one evening, and I thought two things. A, the pub seemed really nice and friendly and there was a nice atmosphere, and B, the other waiting staff all seemed quite young, perhaps not as young as I was, but relatively young. Yeah. And I thought, if they're doing it, why can't I do it? So that is basically how it started. So I think we went up to the bar after we'd finished eating our meal and said, "Do you have any jobs?"
As you do.
Yeah. So that was basically how I got my first job when I was 15. I can't actually remember how much I was paid, but it was anywhere between 4 and 6 hours every Sunday, and I think I earned around £20 a week. So for 15 years old, doing one afternoon a week, I didn't think that was too bad at all. At Christmas time, I got signed up to do more hours, so I do Friday nights, Saturday nights, and the Sundays. So I was quids in, rolling in the money at Christmas time. And I also remember, I think the first Christmas I was there, I got given an envelope. And I thought, well, what's this? And I opened it up, and there was like money in the envelope. And that was my tip money. That was my share of the tip money. And, you know, in all honesty, I'd taken tips from customers. Well, I'd taken them. I say I'd been given tips from customers. No, I hadn't just stolen them.
That's good to know.
Just let me clarify that. And I'd never really thought that I'd actually get anything back. So it was really nice that first Christmas to get an envelope with almost like a Christmas bonus in it.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. So I stayed working at the pub throughout. I was 15, so I stayed there whilst I did my GCSEs and all through doing my A-levels. When I did my A-levels, I was fortunate enough to get, it was called Educational Maintenance Allowance, or shortened to EMA.
I remember that.
You do? Excellent. So I think off the top of my head, it was a government allowance for, I think it was 16 to 19-year-olds who basically wanted to stay in education after they'd finished their GCSEs. I think off the top of my head, it was based on household income. Mm-hmm. And at the time I did it, I think there were 3 tiers. So it was £10 a week, £20 a week, or £30 a week. And I was actually fortunate enough to get £30 a week. So at the time, I thought that was great. I'm getting £30 a week for going to school, which is what I've always done anyway. So I thought, you know, £30 a week for going to school, £20 a week on the weekends. And by the time I was doing my A-levels, I was doing a few more hours at the pub as well. So I'd sort of started doing Saturday evenings as well. So that had pretty much doubled what I was getting from the pub. Never a bad thing. So with the EMA money that I was getting, I decided that I wouldn't ever touch that, and I would pay that straight into a savings account and let that just sit and build up and build up and build up, with the view that once I'd passed my driving test, that would be the money that I would use to buy my first car with. Mm-hmm. So, and then with the money that I was earning from the pub, I was saving a little bit of that each week as well. And then I had a little bit of spending money for myself as well. But when I was sort of 16 and 17, I can't really remember having that much of an expensive lifestyle between going around my friends' houses and going to the park. I don't really remember having to spend a lot of money. Fortunately, I lived at home and was sort of very lucky from that point of view. I think probably the most we did was go for like girly shopping trips in the city. And even then, I think the most consistent spend that I had was £3 on a Boots meal deal each time, which we thought was great at the time. £3 for a drink, sandwich and crisps. We were really happy with that. And I remember we used to spend hours in New Look, trying all the clothes on and, oh, yeah.
Good times.
Good times. So I finished sixth form at 18 and I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I decided by that time that I didn't really want to go to university because from my position, I was fully aware that I was going to get into thousands and thousands of pounds worth of debt for something that I didn't really know what I wanted to get out of it. My favourite subject was history, but in my mind, all I could do with a history degree was be a history teacher, and I didn't want to be a history teacher. So I sort of threw the towel in on that, wrote my CV out and started applying for jobs, because whilst I was still working at the pub, it was never my intention for that to be my full-time job and make a career out of being a waitress. So I went for a number of interviews, and this is where I fortunately got my job at Face to Face Finance. And we probably could stop here because those of you that know me probably know the rest of my story, but I will continue. So my job originally at Face to Face Finance was as an apprenticeship, and I was earning £70 a week plus my bus fare. And when I came for the interview, I just thought it was such a great, friendly office, friendly atmosphere. Plus, for my apprenticeship, I was going to be doing a course in business administration, and I'd been made aware that there was scope for progression at the end of the apprenticeship. So I thought, well, okay, £70 a week may not be a lot, but it's only for a short time, because once I've done the apprenticeship, hopefully, if I work hard and succeed, I might have a job for life here. And 10 years later, touch wood, I'm still here. So I can't have been doing too badly. Definitely. I started on my apprenticeship, and it was actually on the apprenticeship course that I met Matt, my now husband, which still sounds really strange after over 2 years. We were in the same course, and he was always the guy in the corner. I thought, oh, he's a really nice guy. I wish I could meet a guy like him. He seems really nice. And unbeknown to me at the time, he was obviously thinking the same about me, because 6 months later or so, he asked me out. So
he was the brave one to make the first move.
He was the brave one to make the first move. But we don't need to go into all of the details about our relationship. But my point was how we got together. And so we started seeing each other. And after a couple of years, we decided that we wanted to start saving together to get a house. So I'm quite a big believer of sort of living comfortably within my means. So it was always my intention that with whatever house or flat or whatever we ended up buying, that it wouldn't be the real top end of our budget, because I wanted to make sure that at the end of each month, we still had money left over to go out and have a meal or go on holiday or whatever we wanted to do. So we weren't just working for the mortgage, basically, because I don't think that I would enjoy that. So thankfully, Matt felt the same. So we agreed on that, and we managed to save up our deposit for our first home, which was a 1-bedroom flat, which we bought and furnished and decorated with no help from the bank of mum and dad. So we're very, very proud of ourselves for doing that. And I think our mortgage at the time was about £450 a month. So that meant, like I was saying a second ago, we could still go out and have a good time and go on holidays, and we didn't really have to compromise on anything, if that makes sense. Definitely. So we had the flat, and we still had a lifestyle as well. So we're very happy. I probably should add that I'd finished my apprenticeship by now and I was earning more than £70 a week at this stage.
I was going to say, it's very good for £70 a week.
Yeah, I managed to stretch that out a long way. So I probably should make that clear that by this stage I'd finished my apprenticeship and I had progressed within my role and I was earning more than £70 a week. So we lived in our little flat for, I think it was about 2.5 to 3 years, and we outgrew it. There's no nice way to say it. 2 adults in a 1-bedroom flat. We outgrew it.
Mm-hmm.
So we started looking for somewhere a little bit bigger, and we found a 2-bedroom house, which is actually still where we live today. So we managed to sell our flat that we'd brought. We luckily made about £20,000 from what we'd brought it for to what we sold it for.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. So that was what we basically put in to buy our house with. And again, we still have a very sort of comfortable life. You know, the mortgage is X a month and we still have enough money, fortunately, to save and go out and, you know, thankfully not really have to worry about money too much. So I think we're quite lucky from that respect. I think we have said in a previous episode where we talked about savings versus paying off debt, about people who have it in their head about paying their mortgage off early.
Is that you?
I think I'm one of those people. Can we pay any extra off the mortgage this month? So I think I am that person. So that is sort of as far as I've gotten on my money journey, really.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say that I'm quite cautious when it comes to money. But I do have stocks and shares ISA that I pay into every month. I'm sure Julie will probably remember a few years ago, we both used to pay into 2 funds each month. One was called BlackRock Gold and General,
mm-hmm.
and the other was JPM Natural Resources Fund. So both of these funds can go up and down and up and down and up and down, really, really volatile. And we used to see each month whose funds had made the most money. So that was a professional interest, we called it. It probably sounds really sad to anyone listening, but yeah, we called it professional interest. See what the funds are doing. Not really a very exciting spender. I'm not very off the cuff, or I really fancy, you know, treating myself to. Oh, why can't I think of anything that I'd want to treat myself to?
Some new shoes, maybe.
Some new shoes, yeah, some new shoes, because I'm always thinking, well, I've got that pair of shoes at home. I don't really need a new pair of shoes. There's nothing wrong with the ones that I've got. I don't really need to buy these. And it doesn't really matter. They can be £20. They can be £200. It's the same saga every time. Well, I don't really need them. I don't, you know. And we sort of go through this. And Matt always says to me, well, you work really hard. Why don't you just get them and treat yourself? But I don't know. I have a bit of a thing like, I don't know, just can't get past it, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. So I don't think that there's a lot else that I have to add, unless there's anything.
Do you have any plans, Becky, for your kind of future money journey? Is there anything you're looking to achieve or what the future might hold?
In a couple of years' time, we do want to look to move to a bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
So that is probably the next step for...
You're not going to make a bigger mortgage, Becky, that you're going to then want to pay off quicker.
Well, no, that's why I'm sort of trying to pay off extra now while I still can, before I have a bigger mortgage where perhaps I may not be able to as easily afford to overpay on it.
I see.
So I'm trying to get in the overpayments now to whittle it down enough so that that equity can then help us towards our next house and keep the mortgage a little bit lower, hopefully. In my mind, that's how it works anyway.
That's right, as long as it keeps you happy.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I would like to move house probably in the next 2 or 3 years. So, yes.
Fantastic. So thank you for sharing your money journey with us today, Becky. There's one question that we ask all of our guests, and even though you're a host, we're still going to ask you it. What's your favourite holiday destination?
Do I have to just say one?
Oh, she's going to be greedy. Go on, have more than one.
Wow. The first one, I really love New York.
Mm-hmm.
I've been twice, luckily, and I really love it. We watched Suits last year when we were in lockdown, and that's set in New York, and it was torture. They kept saying, have we been there? Have we been there? I've seen that. We walked down that street. So I am that person. So New York, I do really like New York and we'll hopefully get back there one day. And the other one that I'm going to sneak in is Rhodes. We've been there twice actually as well. Just because it's so nice and relaxing and the complete opposite to New York.
That's fair.
No hustle and bustle, nice and quiet. I can normally read about 13 books and I'm the world's slowest reader, so that's saying something.
However long is this holiday?
Yeah, well, not long enough. So 2 completely different holidays, but both enjoyable for different reasons.
Thank you so much for sharing, Becky.
That is okay. You're more than welcome.
And with that, we've completed today's episode. We hope you have enjoyed following along with us today and taking another step closer to a financially secure future.
If you've enjoyed today's podcast, you can head over to themoneycompass.co.uk where you can find out more information, hints and tips from today's episode.
If you'd like to get more involved, share your own experiences and learn from a friendly community on a similar journey to you, why not join us in our Facebook group, The Money Compass, where we will support you in navigating your way to financial success.
Thank you for listening and see you next time.